Hello, how are you? We already know that garlic is a wonderful food for our health. In this video, I want to explain in more detail how to consume garlic daily, how to make this a habit. Since a lot of people aren't used to this, they think you have to eat the garlic raw for it to work, but that's just not true. I'm going to share with you 7 ideas on how to consume garlic, how to neutralize that garlic breath, that bad breath people complain about that lingers afterwards. I'll also explain more about that little green part inside the garlic. Should we throw it away or should we eat it? Lots of really cool tips, so stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you something. Do you use garlic in your daily life? What's the seasoning you use the most? At my house, the basics are really garlic and onion. I want to know about yours. What is never missing from your kitchen in your day-to-day cooking? Write it for me down here in the comments. I'd love to see your comment. Even to get more inspiration for myself, right? If you can, go ahead and leave a like on the video. That's super important for me here on the channel. And if you know someone who needs more ideas or wants to learn more about how to add garlic to their daily routine, share this video. Let's spread this chain of kindness. That's what I want here with the channel. When we think about garlic, we think of it as a seasoning, right? Of course, it gives food a wonderful flavor, but it's not just about the taste. Garlic is a very rich food, nutritionally speaking. It's rich in sulfur compounds, bioactive ones, and the main one, the most studied, is allicin. But there's an interesting detail because allicin doesn't come in its naturally active form in garlic. It comes as alliin, which is an inactive form. So in order for you to form allicin from garlic, which is this highly studied compound, you need the enzyme alliinase or allicinase, depending on how you say it, to come into contact because the alliin is inside the cell and the enzyme is outside. So for them to meet, you have to break the cell. We can do this by crushing, chopping, grinding, mincing it with the tip of a knife. Whatever method you prefer. You have to mash, crush, chop the garlic in some way. Then you wait about 10 to 15 minutes, the time it takes you to organize the other things you'll use for cooking, so that you can actually use the garlic this way. You'll get more benefits from this powerful nutraceutical. A lot of people want to know, Patricia, what about that little green sprout? Sometimes I buy garlic, leave it there for a few days, and a little green sprout starts to grow. Should I throw it away? Is it like potatoes that we shouldn't eat? No, actually, it's the opposite. This sprouted garlic, as we call it, can actually have even more antioxidants. The only issue is that it will have a stronger, more pronounced flavor. And for some people who are more sensitive, it can cause digestive discomfort. So it's a matter of you assessing your own tolerance and what you expect in terms of the garlic's flavor, whether you want a milder flavor or a stronger, more pronounced one. But in fact, garlic brings many benefits to our health. When we think about cardiovascular health, garlic is a food that has been widely studied and there is already a lot of scientific evidence of its beneficial effects. Garlic stimulates nitric oxide, which increases the activity of enzymes that promote the vasodilation of our arteries, veins, blood capillaries. So with that, it reduces peripheral resistance and can help control blood pressure. This is a very interesting effect in addition to protecting the endothelium, which is the vessel wall. Furthermore, garlic can help with the issue of oxidized LDL. It acts as a scavenger of free radicals and precisely prevents LDL from undergoing oxidation. We already know nowadays that LDL only really becomes dangerous and atherogenic if it is oxidized LDL. So it's important to reduce this for our health, and garlic acts in this way brilliantly. Another major benefit of garlic is definitely related to immunity, right? Many people already associate consuming garlic daily to fewer colds and shorter duration of colds. So in fact, this may be related because of allicin. It is a powerful antimicrobial agent because it reacts with several enzymes vital to pathogens. And it also increases the proliferation of natural killer cells and macrophages in our body. In other words, it really stimulates immunity. So consuming garlic regularly can give your immune system a real boost, if that's what you're looking for. Besides that, there's another effect which is complementary, anti-inflammatory. That's because garlic works by blocking the activation of an enzyme that is the master switch for inflammation in the DNA of our cells. So when we silence this switch, we produce lower levels of tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin 6, which are strongly associated with increased inflammation in our body, that low-grade chronic inflammation. And there's yet another effect that also helps with inflammation, which is improving insulin sensitivity. These sulfur compounds from garlic can help protect the beta cells of the pancreas and may help improve this issue of sensitivity to insulin and even the transport of glucose. So it facilitates the translocation of GLUT4, which is a transporter that brings glucose into the muscle. Therefore, our body becomes more efficient at handling blood sugar. We know that elevated blood sugar can cause insulin resistance, and this insulin resistance, this excess secretion of insulin throughout the day, can increase inflammation. So, in a very diverse and even synergistic way, garlic helps with inflammation, supports immunity, helps with glucose, and also benefits the gut microbiota. As I mentioned, since it acts as a natural antimicrobial, it can help improve the balance of bacteria in your digestive tract. And garlic also contains inulin and fructooligosaccharides, which are a type of non-digestible carbohydrate, but interesting fibers that are naturally present in garlic and that beneficial bacteria like to consume. So it helps decrease the harmful bacteria and increase the beneficial ones. It is a very interesting prebiotic. So let's talk about these 7 ways to add more garlic to your daily routine. Of course, the most basic way is to crush the garlic and use it raw, as I mentioned. In this case, we get the maximum amount of allicin present. And it's ideal for vinaigrettes, sauces, guacamole, spreads with ricotta, hummus, which is a chickpea spread, even in salads, grated with mustard, vinegar, and a little olive oil to add to the dressing. It works really well. The second way is to use it in sautés, and here's where a critical mistake happens. People turn on the stove, put the pan on, add the olive oil. And while the oil is already heating up, they crush the garlic and throw it in. That's not ideal. Ideally, as I mentioned before, you should do some prep work with the garlic. Chop it, grind it, crush it, whatever you prefer, then wait about 10 minutes before cooking. Only then should you sauté your rice, beans, meats, vegetables, whatever you want to make, or sauces that will be cooked with garlic, which will already have more allicin available so you can actually get those benefits. Another really good option is to use garlic with olive oil. In this case, the ideal is to prepare and use it for that meal. You shouldn't leave the garlic sitting in the oil for days. There's even a video explaining more about how this can be very dangerous for your health and can even increase the risk of botulism. But if you prepare the garlic fresh, crush it and let it sit for 10 minutes beforehand, add a bit of olive oil and put it on top of fish, vegetables, or steak. It tastes really delicious. It's also an excellent option and it's very synergistic, functional, and anti-inflammatory. Another interesting detail is to sauté the garlic and then put it lightly sautéed on top of steak, chicken, or vegetables, letting it get just lightly golden, right? Don't let it get too dark so it doesn't form acrylamide, which is undesirable and bitter. So ideally, the garlic and olive oil or whatever fat you use. Remember, I have a video here about the best and worst fats for cooking. But the garlic should be golden, never black. Another interesting option is to roast the garlic. You can put it together with meat, with tomatoes, or whatever else you're making. You can roast it in the oven and consume it in its roasted state. In the same way, ideally you should mash it. You can take the garlic clove, but I like to roast it with the skin on. Just take a knife, press it down so it gets a bit crushed, and then you roast it with the vegetables or with the meat you're roasting, or even on its own with olive oil if you want. And that way you'll get that sweeter flavor of roasted garlic, and many people tolerate this type of garlic better. Garlic with lemon is also interesting. I even have a video here on the channel talking more about this amazing combination. It's an antioxidant, but we have to be careful because on an empty stomach, it can be very harsh on the stomach, especially if you have reflux. So many people like to make garlic water, add a slice of lemon, or squeeze half a lemon in there. It can be an interesting option, but be careful if you have gastric sensitivity. There's also black garlic, which is rich in S-allylcysteine, a very powerful and valuable antioxidant. It has a different profile from raw allicin, but what's most interesting is that you don't need to make this black garlic, which is a fermented garlic, at home. Ideally, you should buy it ready-made with the necessary precautions. Many people also want to know about garlic powder, which a lot of people use daily for convenience, or in seasonings which comes with garlic, it's mixed with garlic powder. There's paprika, turmeric, other things like that. This industrial processing can reduce it a bit, the activation of alliinase, so there may be less allicin there. Of course, fresh garlic is superior in medicinal and nutritional terms, but between using nothing and using garlic powder, if that's the case, it's better to use garlic powder, okay? And many people say, Patricia, I like garlic, but I end up with bad breath after eating garlic. Fresh apple, mint, or parsley can help to inactivate it. So you can chew an apple afterwards, or even put a handful of mint or parsley in your mouth, because the polyphenols in these foods will neutralize those sulfur compounds in your breath. This way, you can consume it daily without having any kind of social problem related to garlic consumption. Many people want to know how much to consume daily in their routine. So usually 1 to 2 cloves per day is a recommended dose, and it's fine for most people. If you take anticoagulants, or if you have any surgery or some kind of scheduled exam that involves any kind of procedure, for example, a colonoscopy where you can't consume anticoagulants beforehand, it's best to cut back a bit on excessive consumption. If you are someone with very low blood pressure, if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or if you're unsure about how much garlic to consume, talk to your doctor or your nutritionist, especially if you have any kind of health problem. Remember that this video is for informational purposes, so the idea is to help you learn more about garlic. Let me know down below if you have any other way of consuming garlic that I haven't mentioned here. If you do, I would love to see your method. And which one did you like the most? Write to me. I would love to see your comment. Go ahead and leave a like on the video. That really helps me out. And share it with those who will like it, with those who need it. Let's spread this chain of kindness. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.